more tomorrow when day breaks. As the situation continues to unfold, our first concern is preventing injury or loss of life. So I want to be very clear in calling upon the Egyptian authorities to refrain from any violence against peaceful protesters. The people of Egypt have rights that are universal. That includes the right to peaceful assembly and association, the right to free speech, and the ability to determine their own destiny. These are human rights, and the United States will stand up for them everywhere. I also call upon the Egyptian government to reverse the actions that they've taken to interfere with access to the internet, to cell phone service, and to social networks that do so much to connect people in the 21st century. At the same time, those protesting in the streets have a responsibility to express themselves peacefully. Violence and destruction will not lead to the reforms that they seek. Now, going forward, this moment of volatility has to be turned into a moment of promise. The United States has a close partnership with Egypt, and we've cooperated on many issues, including working together to advance a more peaceful region. But we've also been clear that there must be reform, political, social, and economic reforms that meet the aspirations of the Egyptian people. In the absence of these reforms, grievances have built up over time. When President Mubarak addressed the Egyptian people tonight, he pledged a better democracy and greater economic opportunity. I just spoke to him after his speech, and I told him he has a responsibility to give meaning to those words, to take concrete steps and actions that deliver on that promise. Violence will not address the grievances of the Egyptian people, and suppressing ideas never succeeds in making them go away. What's needed right now are concrete steps that advance the rights of the Egyptian people, a meaningful dialogue between the government and its citizens, and a path of political change that leads to a future of greater freedom and greater opportunity and justice for the Egyptian people. Now, ultimately, the future of Egypt will be determined by the Egyptian people. And I believe that the Egyptian people want the same things that we all want: a better life for ourselves and our children, and a government that is fair and just and responsive. Put simply, the Egyptian people want a future that befits the heirs to a great and ancient civilization.
And to Mark Shields and David Brooks. David, what did you think of what the president just said?
I think they've done a good job in the last 24 hours of recalibrating their response. I think initially, as in many responses with this administration, they are cautious and sort of on the side of whatever government happens to be in power and preferring order to disorder. But I think they've come to see, in part because of the actions of the Egyptian government over the past 24 hours, that they have to recalibrate. And I think President Obama stood for a couple of important things. One, he stood for human rights and the idea that we will always stand for certain human rights to assemble, to express yourself and that sort of thing. The second thing he stood for was he clearly put moral legitimacy on the side of the protesters.